the hand and the ring is in tight focus in front of you. So unfortunately, when I shot this one, I didn't have quite the depth on the lens that I needed. I needed a little smaller f-stop than I had available to me. While I always want to get the best shot I could possibly get out of the camera, I wasn't able to do it in this case. So let me just take this and I'll do a nice loose selection around the hand. I will drop into our depth of field tool. Now in the past, this selection, I had to do it in this form right here. And even in zoomed mode, I could only do a single selection. I couldn't do multiple selections, discontiguous selections, or any of the other types of masking I might want to do. I would have to do it all in this little small dialog up here. But you can see by the selection tools being available on the main photo, coming into the tool, it's very easy to make a change, which is easily shows the effect that I might go for. Yeah, a little bit more than I was looking for, but you get the idea. The idea of being able to do the selection and be able to fine-tune the user interface based on user feedback and user input. Let me pop over to the organizer again. I'm going to show you a couple of tools that we've added in the main application here. Which photo should I use? I'll use this guy right here. So in this particular case, let's talk about object extraction or background removal. Now we've had a background remover or an eraser tool up to this point. We have a new one that we have integrated into the application. The idea of being able to take this young man and be able to lift him off of the photo and be able to put him on a different background, or one of the classic ways of doing video these days is to actually take old photos, scan them, and then take people in the photo, be able to pull them out, have a separate layer that you work with that person on, and then be able to take them and do a pan and scan or a zoom on that person individually in video production. That's an interesting effect that you can get. You've seen that a lot in documentaries at this point. In this particular case, let me show you the object extractor. I've got a couple of different brushes here. I've got this green brush, which I will use to highlight the object, or outline the object that I want to extract. So I'm going to outline the young man's head here, and I'm going to make sure that I can get the hair around the top. Now the wispy aspects of hair are very hard to manually extract from a background. This particular algorithm is tuned for that type of extraction, and again, I've selected this photo because one of those difficult things that you run into from time to time is the removal of cases where you've got some pinks in the skin and the reds in the background, and how those can interact. Can make it a little bit more difficult to pull things out. Now, if I use this fill tool and I fill the background, that would say that I want to maintain the background and blow away the head. In this case, if I click on this, it says I'm going to want to keep the head. I'll click Process, and let's take a look. Pretty good job, where you're getting some of the detail on the hair. It's extracting it from the background, and I can go back and fine-tune this by editing the mask a little bit around the eye, or wherever I might have a detail that's a little bit loose, or I can adjust my accuracy. But you get the idea of very simple, be able to go out and identify the edge, identify the content that you want to keep, click, and pretty much be able to do a very, very fast extraction in that particular way. So let me go show another interesting tool that we've added. This tool is going to be our probably Okay, I'll use this particular photo. This tool will be the Smart Carver. Now, over the years, we've learned a lot of techniques and have come up with a lot of different ways of removing objects, removing areas from photos. In this particular tool, the Smart Carver allows us to change the aspect ratio of the photo without dramatically affecting the contents. So I can stretch photos, I can squish photos, I can remove parts of a photo without just simply cropping off things. Things like if I have sky that I want to take a little of the sky off, but I don't want to lose detail of the clouds, I can define that I want to squish that area down and be able to let the program kind of systematically remove pieces that allow you to keep details. So let me give you rather than talking about it, let me give you a specific example here. I think that'll show what I'm talking about. So let me do a quick zoom in here. And I'm going to go over and focus on the bag that this girl is holding on to. I've got two tools. I've got a red tool, which is my eraser brush, and this allows me to define something that I want to get rid of. I also have a green brush that will allow me to define things that I might want to keep, and in this case I'll just quickly paint over the bag that she has here to define that to be removed, and I won't get too fancy with the fingers area in here. It's probably okay to come back and to do a little bit of a touch-up by hand on that particular part as well. I'm going to also use my protector brush here, and I'm going to protect a few areas just to tell the algorithm not to go in and adjust areas that it's not supposed to. If it wants to go for some reason and change this area, I've now kind of told it not to do that. Now I can basically a pixel at a time I can remove things vertically or horizontally. In this case, I'm just going to do an auto contract horizontally and remove that red painted area. I do that and I click, and the bag is gone. And you can see that it's done. I'll just zoom in again on that area. It's done a fairly fantastic job of actually taking this area and repainting it, recreating it so that it's very, very clean. Yes, the other aspect of this is you have to go systematically through and make sure that you've gotten rid of things like shadows, and the little bit of bag that I left in her hand will need to be kind of manually cleaned out. But you get the basic idea of how well this works. It actually did remove part of the building up here. It had to do some removal down in this area. But again, to the eye, when you're looking at it, you pretty much go, wow, that you wouldn't believe that the girl ever had that bag in her hand. So this type of tool is very powerful for making various adjustments to photos. So let me go into a quick slideshow here, show a few other examples of this. First, let me describe this particular photo. I love this photo because of the interaction here. You can see the pan of food over here. You can see that the goose has wandered in at feeding time, and these lemurs are absolutely intent on protecting their territory. This guy has actually gotten up on his back feet and is now willing to what looks like wrestle the goose, and it's a beautiful photo. The one thing that we find fairly distracting is this guy didn't get out of the photo shot. I mean, he's basically wandering in, tail in the air, and not exactly the view that we want to have there. So let me just set this up as a little bit of a quick slideshow. And we'll see that, and then we'll see what happened to it. So here's the original photo. I did a little crop on this, and then I did a Smart Carver on it, and you can see that the offending tail is gone, and it's basically redrawn grass for us. Here's kind of a simple example of a stretch. Obviously, maybe a little bit more than necessary, but you get the idea of how you can take an object like this tank and make it more interesting. There's actually a couple of stretches there in a squish where I got rid of some of the building and got rid of some of the foreground. You've seen the